Knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the undefeated former British and WBO Intercontinental Champion and the currently ranked #1 super lightweight contender in the world by the WBO, Jack El Gato Catterall.
10 rounds, remember, obey my commands at all time and defend yourselves at all time. God bless. Touch gloves. 4 shots.
Well, it's good to see Jack back. He hasn't fought in a year. Getting final words of advice from his trainer there, Jamie Moore. Undefeated now in 25 fights. And on the cusp of the world title fight that he's dreamed of. But Huya, skillful fighter, light puncher. But his only defeats, 2 defeats, have come on points, and he has won EU honours in his career as well. Boxed for Tunisia in the 2012 Olympics, where he lost out to Jeff Horn, who you remember as the man who beat Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, that's decent. He's boxed decent opposition, hasn't he? He's boxed at Olympic level, so you know he knows his stuff. Does who you are. But it's good to see Jack Catterall back, and you know he's really earned that #1 spot, hasn't he, for the WBO? He's been #1 now for about 2 years. So wouldn't it be fantastic if him and Josh Taylor can get it together with all the titles on the line? And that is it's a real possibility, John.
Yeah, it'll be a tremendous domestic confrontation, that one. Josh has talked about his dream of defending those titles in his home city of Edinburgh. I'm sure Jack would quite like. He's up in the northwest somewhere. I don't think there's a suitable venue in Chorley, is there?
No, not really. But yeah, it would be a cracker. But you know, he's got this job first, and he'll probably want a few rounds under his belt. As obviously he's been out for a year, so he has got to just shake a bit of ring rust off. And it might be 1 or maybe 2 bouts before he fights for the world title. That'll be up to him, and that'll be up to his camp. They will know, but he'll be able to gauge a lot from this contest and how many rounds he gets under his belt here.
In 2 years as the WBO's #1, got that ranking after beating Ohara Davis back in October 2018. Wasn't the greatest eye-catching fight of all time, but Catterall did a pretty good job of outfoxing a very, very cagey opponent.
Yeah, he's decent, Ohara Davis. He's a good boxer, but on that occasion he was in against someone that was just a step ahead of him, and he frustrated Ohara Davis.
Only 2 fights since then. Only 2 fights since then for Jack. Beat one Oscar Amador on the Daniel Dubois Larty card, and then 12 months ago had a points win over in Dubai against Timo Schwarzkopf. And I'm sure a little bit frustrated to have had to wait, eventually taking a little bit of step-aside money to allow the Taylor-Ramirez fight to go ahead.
Huya experiencing problems, just a common problem that an orthodox boxer has against the southpaw. He knows that when he goes forward, if he overreaches and falls short, he's going to get caught. He's starting his attacks off from way too far back.
First round over, 9 still to go. Welcome back to Church House. It's ticking down now, the clock, and there you have the hands being bound in the dressing rooms. Daniel Dubois.
Corners,
and there
10 seconds.
In the next dressing room down the corridor, there's Joe Joyce.
Out. Round 2.
They'll have been there, done it so many times before, but they wouldn't be human if the nerves weren't jangling a little bit, Richie.
All boxers get nervous. It's just how you handle those nerves. And yeah, they'll be nervous, all right. But Joe Joyce, I mean, he's been boxing in an Olympic final, remember? So he's experienced all kinds of nerves. But yeah, they'll handle it okay. They've been through it before. But yeah, this is a special occasion, big fight.
A little bit of footwork there, feet tangling up between the orthodox Tunisian Abdurazak Houya and the southpaw Jack Catterall. It can happen.
Just an example there. Houya, he's too far away, John. He's making his attacks from out of range. He's got to get a little bit closer. Catterall, he's a very skillful boxer. You watch Catterall with that jab to the body occasionally, and he just waits on the outside, Jack Catterall. And again, Houya too far out, and he's getting frustrated. But as he comes forward, that's what Catterall will want, because he's a tremendous counter puncher, is Catterall.
His breakthrough performance was that victory he had over Thomas Stalker a few years back. Since then, Joe Hughes, Tyrone Nurse, Tyrone McKenna, that was another good win. He's shown himself to be top of the domestic pile. Except, of course, Josh Taylor. And we'll be having to talk as well, I'm sure, over the weeks, months ahead about what his chances might be in that showdown, provided he wins tonight.
Yeah, two very skillful southpaws indeed, Taylor and Catterall. Taylor's just gone from strength to strength as a professional. Excellent fighter now, and he really has made that switch, hasn't he, from the amateur? It's an Olympian, remember, as well, 2012.
Well, and phenomenal, Richie, the standard of opposition that he's faced as a pro. I mean, he really has.
He's made the transition fantastically well, and he's a really good pro. Great world champion, so it'll be a cracking contest, it really will. But Catterall will need rounds under his belt, so he'll look to get it maybe here. And he's not having such a good round here, or as good a round as the first round.
Wouldn't be a surprise if he was a little bit rusty, though, after so long away. He's had his rounds in the gym, of course, comes from the same gym as Carl Frampton. They know all about each other, and Carl has said, we've only seen a fraction of what Jack can produce. So much talent. Well, if he's going to be competitive against the likes of Josh Taylor, he's going to have to show that. And that was a closer round. If you're just joining us, Church House in Westminster is the venue. Jack Catterall against Abdurazak Houya is the fight that we've got at the moment. Catterall winning the first round, and perhaps also doing enough to win the second, Richard.
Yeah, I thought he won the second. It wasn't such a convincing round, but he still did enough to get over the line, Jack Catterall.
10 rounder this one. Our main event, of course, coming sometime after 10 o'clock this evening. Daniel Dubois against Joe Joyce. And before then, another chance to see a very talented young prospect, Hamza Shiraz. WBO European super welterweight title fight against a Spaniard, Guido Nicolas Pito. That's more like it from Catterall. Good variety in the attack.
Yeah, Jack Catterall occasionally in this round, he's looking for that long straight left hand to the body. I think he's just trying to get a little bit closer so he can maybe target the right hook after that. That might be maybe a combination that may work for him. straight left to the body, right hook to the head. But Hu Ya himself, he's having a little bit of success with his own right hook, come right uppercut. When Catterall does move into range, it seems to be a punch that he throws, he whips it through the middle.
It's a decent body shot from Catterall, but Hu Ya, as you can see, he's got good balance and good footwork. He does, maybe he's particularly earlier in the fight, not getting close enough to land any sort of telling shots, but he's a difficult man just to tie down.
Yes, he is. I think he's having a little bit more success when Catterall is making the attacks, because he's waiting, and then he's trying to catch Catterall as he's coming forward. His problem is Hu Ya, when he starts the attack off from too far out, and when he falls short, and that's bread and butter stuff for Catterall.
A decent left hand from Catterall. Came from a very wide arc, but it found the target.
Yeah, Hu Ya is being a bit cagey on that back foot. See, there's that right hand again. I think it's the right hook he's got to watch out for from Catterall. He hasn't thrown it yet. You can just see the signs that he just nips downstairs with that right hand straight right to the body, but I think he's trying to get close for the right hook to the head also.
Catterall getting inside with a solid right hand to the body before he was tied up there. Not really dominated Hu Ya so far. Hu Ya is a noted survivor. Now based in France. That's good. Fast combination from Catterall, ending the round, and that's probably 3 out of 3. Jack Catterall moving well in his comeback fight against Abdesrazak Hu Ya. Daniel Dubois still having those gloves sorted out in the dressing room. Daniel Dubois likewise in his dressing room. Fight time is coming closer. My nerves are going a little bit, never mind the fighters.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Just waiting.
Don't make a mess of it, John. Get it right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a big clash of heads.
Clash there,
now,
yeah.
Is he cut? He's lucky. I don't think he is. There was a real smack of forehead on forehead there.
I think Catterall got a nick.
Has he?
I think he might have, John. There is blood. There's a little bit of blood from him.
Yeah, looks okay on this. Yeah, left side there. You're right,
yeah.
Richie.
Yeah.
It's not absolutely pouring from it, but it's perhaps more a graze than a real gash.
It's given Hu Ya a little bit of confidence as well, hasn't it?
Does it do that to you as a fighter when you're in the ring, if you actually see that something that you've done or anything has caused an injury?
Absolutely, because it's causing stress on your opponent. So yeah, red rag to the bull, literally is. When you see the blood, when you see a cut, yeah, it lifts your confidence.
And he's got a very, very experienced man in his corner in Jamie Moore. He's not going to be panicking, no way.
No, Jamie's seen it all before. As you say, it might be just a graze or a little nick. It's not too bad. The blood's not really running into the eye. It's more of a graze than a real cut. So.
So that's not going to have a big impact on the direction of the fight, you wouldn't think.
No, I think it just raised the confidence a little bit of Hu Ya, because he could see the blood.
He's trying to wing in and whip that right hand across, trying to deliver slashing shots to maybe accentuate the damage.
Well, seeing the blood, he'll certainly target the right hand a little bit more. But Catterall, very difficult man to actually capture that shot unless he's coming forward and making a mistake.
This has been better from Hu Ya again. Difficult to tag from Catterall. Not landing too much clean. And turning away to protect that damaged eye. It's better. Good solid left hand from Catterall. And the touch of gloves, nice to see. There was no malice involved in that head clash. You go to work away on it. That doesn't look too bad, does it, Richie?
No, it's not too bad at all. It's definitely, it could have been a lot worse, couldn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Let's have a look at it here. When they come forward, bang, there it was. So it could have been a lot worse than what it is, John.
Is that partly the left-hander, right-hander clash, southpaw orthodox go in and it makes it more likely?
Yeah, because the feet are, your feet are a little bit different against an orthodox and a southpaw, and when they come together, then yeah, the heads can clash. It's literally to do with the feet.
Look up and go down.
And the stumbling, sometimes you can literally tread on the opponent's foot or just stumble over that front foot of the opponent and lose your balance, and that's when you can come together.
Round 5.
Neil Dempsey, the man working on the cuts for the Jamie Moore camp, for the corner there for Jack Catterall. Kerry Kayes usually has the job, but he's not travelled down here, presumably because of these difficult times in which we're all functioning.
Yeah, that's what Jack Catterall's got to watch out for there. He just made that attack and his left leg just comes through, and occasionally he'll come a little bit square. He comes low with the head, so he gets away with it on that occasion, but he's just got to watch out for that right hand of Hu Ya.
You reckon Catterall lost that last round?
Yeah, for me, he didn't. He wasn't quite as effective as he was in the opening 3 rounds, so I just thought that Hu Ya did enough in the last round.
And understandably, he's going to be a little bit sort of flummoxed about the injury, but they've done a good job tidying that up. But he's finding Hu Ya a difficult man to dominate.
I think Hu Ya, John, has learned through this contest. He's not coming over the front foot as much anymore. He's just sitting back, and he's quite prepared for Catterall to launch the attack and then try and catch him as he's coming forward. So he's sitting back, and a man sitting back is always harder to catch him, especially if he's moving away.
Still difficult, though, isn't he, to find Catterall? That was what Ahara Davis did when they had their fights, and, you know, I mean, Ahara thought he'd done enough, but the judges thought otherwise, and it wound out being a wide points margin in Catterall's favour. That's a decent body shot from Hu Ya.
Good counter-attack that was then from Catterall. You watch Hu Ya was just about to throw a shot, and Catterall beat him to the punch. Quick reflexes, just watching for the opponent to start the attack off, and then he beat him to it.
You people watching at home, you always like to know who the officials are going to be. Ian John Lewis has got the job for the big fight. He's the referee tonight. Victor Loughlin trying to keep the action going. And Catterall again this round has not dominated it, but maybe a little bit more effectively than the last round?
Yeah, I think he won that round, John Catterall. Huyar, yeah, did have a couple of opportunities and scored a couple of shots, but overall I thought Catterall did enough to win it.
So it's 4-1 on your card. You're watching with us on BT Sport, and there's BT Tower. Where's Westminster? It'll be down there in the background somewhere.
It's a great shot of the city.
It does look fabulous. It does look fabulous from
Yeah.
the sky. There's London at night. And here we are inside Church House, here in
10
Westminster.
seconds.
Historic venue for one of the biggest fights of the year.
Seconds out.
Certainly one of the most eagerly
Round
anticipated.
6.
Perhaps for a few years, so far as domestic showdowns are concerned.
The last minute of the last round, I thought Catterall just started to up the tempo a little bit and he boxed very well for me, in and out with the feet. And I thought Huyar just switched off a little bit too slow with his feet, and Catterall just went through the gears a little bit more. And that's maybe the pattern that I'd certainly like to see Catterall just moving through the gears.
Well, Jack's maybe had his sticky moments. That fourth round where there was the clash of heads. And perhaps now starting to get back into the groove again.
It's been a great weight as well, John, over the years, hasn't it? Since the 80s. Well, Terry Marsh was IBF champ, wasn't he? And you've had great fighters like Ricky Hatton and Junior Witter, Gavin Rees. I was looking through them. Amir Khan and Ricky Burns have all lifted world titles at what was then light welter, super lightweight now. We've had a lot of success over the years.
I think the pair of us have commentated on all of them at one time or another.
Absolutely. Some great nights there.
Trying to line up a big left hand, Catterall, but Huyar just slipping inside it, and you heard the referee saying watch your heads as he did so. It's decent right hand from the Tunisian. Huyar's listed as being the taller man, but there looks very little between them physically.
Yeah, he's not using that height and reach to his advantage, really, Huyar.
Oh, great shot! Terrific left hand. All over in a blink of an eye. Beautifully timed. Huyar's done well to get back to his feet. I tell you, how well's he recovered. Victor Loughlin's going to want to be absolutely right. Now, has he recovered enough to get through to the bell? Catterall's looking for him. The countdown is on. The last 10 seconds, he's almost put him down again. He holds on and desperately tries to buy a few seconds. Catterall just can't find the big punch he wanted. But that was a big, big round for the man from Lancashire.
Yeah, tremendous stuff. He really showed his class there, didn't he? Jack Catterall just produced the punch at the right time. And this man hasn't been stopped yet. Let's have a look at it here. Just catches him there as he turns. Super shot from another angle. Just wait here. Right on the point of the chin.
God, what a punch.
Yeah, super shot that was. Literally, I think Huyar himself went to throw a punch, but Catterall beat him to it.
Well, he still looks a little bit groggy to me, and I'm not surprised. I'm not sure he wants to be going too much further in this fight.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Jack Catterall being told by Jamie Moore to stay relaxed.
Round 7.
But now any doubt about the outcome of this fight is surely removed, and Catterall will go looking for him and hope that he's going to stop him now.
Yeah, just when he needed a bit of class, he just showed it there, did Catterall. Lovely punch. And now the momentum, the confidence is with Catterall. And has Hu Ya fully recovered. Expect now Catterall to really put it on him maybe this first minute or so.
Timing was tremendous of that left hand. And the camera angle that we were able to bring it to you just showed it to perfection. Well, there hadn't been too much for the highlight reel before that, but that is certainly one that we'll remember. And he's looking for another. You can see him poised to try and deliver another big left hand.
I think it was a punch that was needed, John, at the right time here. Because occasionally we've seen Hu Ya having some success here and there. And they managed to obviously clash heads. A little bit of a cut there was for Catterall, and that gave Hu Ya a little bit of confidence.
That's a decent right hand from Hu Ya.
That wasn't a bad shot.
He's not done yet.
And obviously, if there's no break from the referee, then when they're coming together like that, you're quite entitled to throw a shot, and he beat him to it.
Well, fair play. Said in between rounds he still looks a bit groggy, but he seems to have regained his senses pretty well now. Catterall just trying to walk him down, looking for the big left-hand bomb.
Yeah, he just fell short with that shot, didn't he? And he just got away with it. He just missed the target there, Catterall. But Hu Ya is boxing clever on the back foot, won't really come forward. Difficult to catch a man with a clean shot when he's moving away from you, and that's what Hu Ya is actually doing. Got to watch the heads, John, here.
Referee well aware, I'm sure. Catterall with that left glove, that left fist cocked, ready to deliver another power shot, with the clock ticking down. And Hu Ya's done a pretty good job of surviving in this round and delivered one or two decent right hands of his own as the heads clash again.
Oh, there's a couple of good shots as well from Catterall on the inside there.
Well, Hu Ya's going to get through the 7th, and the state he was in the 6th, he wouldn't have put much money on that being the outcome, but he does. But a Catterall round?
Yeah, a Catterall round. Most certainly.
Don't try too hard too early. 60% early doors. Just engage the stuff you've been doing in the gym.
You did that round well. You navigated it well. It's just that short right, you bring him in towards the end of the round all the time. It'll work that beforehand, trust me. Trust me. Look, think about it. He's coming here, or he's coming here. Either way, that's going to land first, that short right over the top. You wait for you to jab, and then come. If you sell him that thing first and then he comes on his blind side.
Yeah. Take them feet money in as well, son. Take them feet in. Take them feet in.
Jamie Moore, some of our younger viewers might not remember what an outstanding fighter he was, and now an outstanding trainer as well.
Yeah, good fella as well. You speak to Jamie Moore, decent bloke, good fighter, and now, as you say, very good trainer. Got a good stable of boxers, and in his corner also got a couple of good cornermen, hasn't he? The lad Rimmer. So yeah, it's a successful team. And Nigel Travis, of course, in the corner as well. He was very much, John, a part of the team, big part of the team, Nigel Travis and Jamie Moore.
Well, he's been told to look for that short right hand. You heard the instruction coming. And just concentrate on what you've been working on in the gym. Relax, and it will come. long way clear on the referee's scorecard. He had the knockdown in the 6th round, which would be scored 10-8. I think probably the only round, well, the only round Rich has given Ouillard was that 4th, where there was the clash of heads, and Catterall just put out of his stride for a minute or two.
You got to remember as well, I mean, Catterall he's recovering off a year of being out of the ring, John, so he's got that rust, hasn't he? And he needs these rounds, he really does. But he's getting the workout that he needs.
Well, that'll be good, and most importantly of all, with the big event possibly coming up next year, he's going to move through it without a setback, with a win, and maintaining his undefeated record. Ouillard still trying to get lucky with that right hand. No more fireworks in this round. Is it perhaps going to be that he's going to have to settle for a points victory here tonight? Another round in the bag, though?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, quite a round, but another round for him.
Let's have a listen in the other corner.
Ça va bien. Deux rondes. C'est très bien ce que tu fais. Ok. Pour régler un petit peu les coups trop larges. Ok. Ça va passer. Ok. Oui ou non? Oui. Et s'il te plaît, Abdel, mets-moi des petits droites en ligne. Ok. Tu veux mettre que le crochet du droit. Donc fais ton direct qui passe du bras arrière quand il jette. Et comme je te le répète encore une fois, il se baisse du côté là. Ok.
Well, he's not too badly banged up, is he? And he's recovered well from that knockdown. Caught pretty much on the point of the chin by a tremendous left hand from Jack Catterall in the 6th round. Just 2 rounds remaining now.
Seconds out. Round
Nigel Travers,
9.
assistant to Jamie Mord. He's done a pretty good job on the damage to that left-hand side of the forehead of Catterall. You almost forget that there was blood streaming down in the 4th round. Not a speck now.
No, they're doing a good job, haven't they? I think I got my corners mixed up as well, didn't I? I said Rimmer was in the corner. Of course, it was Nigel Travis.
Well, they're both good at what they do.
Yeah, from the northwest, aren't they? That's where I've got mixed up a little bit.
You're still trying to look for a big right hand, perhaps hoping that Catterall is just running out of steam a wee bit and slowing, but I'm not sure he is. Some sweet little right hand from Catterall.
It was a little bit better there from Ouillard.
His corner's getting very excited about it, didn't
Yeah,
he?
nice little right hand, wasn't it, from him?
It was a scoring shot. I don't think it was endangering Jack Catterall too much. Heads going in again.
Like I said, Johnny, he needed this contest, but he might need another one before he fights for a world title. You know, the ring a year, and it's starting to show it a little bit. I mean, it's been a good performance overall. He needed the rounds, but he may maybe just be tiring a little bit now. Catterall just slowing down a little bit. And again, he's against Ouillard, who's just waiting, isn't he, on that back foot?
Well, he's gone down.
2, 3,
Falling a little bit
5,
clumsily.
6,
caught, and you can see he is dazed and struggling. The referee, though, says, yep, continue. He nods to say he's okay. Now, can Catterall put him away this time? He's got a bit longer to do it than he had in the 6th.
Can Catterall find the punch now, John? Huyar seems to be struggling now, doesn't he?
I didn't see which shot it was which put him down. He's tagged him with another left hand there. Maybe fatigue as much as anything.
I think a bit of both. Good body shot there from Catterall, that right hook to the body. Huyar, yeah, he's on that back foot. Yeah, he's really tired now himself, Huyar. We mentioned that Catterall might have been feeling the pace, but Huyar quite clearly struggling.
Well, big round for Jack Catterall, another 10-8 round, and he is a mile ahead on points. Huyar has not got very much left in the tank. Let's watch again.
Yeah, it was just that left hand over the top, wasn't it? It was on the blind side to us. Let's have a look at it from here. There it is there.
Oh, yeah.
Just must have caught him on the point of the chin.
Well, you can't really see there, can you? But
you know what? That's a good shot. It really is. We couldn't see it from our position. Just on our blind side, but that was a good punch.
Try to trigger from the outside a little bit too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Simplify it a little bit.
Yeah. Relax it. Relax it, that's why he did it. Lovely and relaxed. Boom, boom.
That's right. Okay.
Really good.
Jamie Moore happy with what he's seeing. Star pupils starting to produce one or two highlight moments as we move towards the last round. Huyar has hung in there. Remember, a man who has never been stopped, but he's now been put down twice. Jack Catterall would love to get another stoppage victory on his record.
It'll be the icing on the cake if he can force the stoppage here, John. He's got 9 rounds under his belt, going into the 10th. If he can get the stoppage now, that's a good night's work for him.
Be interesting to hear the reaction of Carl Frampton afterwards on the performance of his gym mate, who he knows very well, of course. Carl back in the gym himself now. Hoping for his world title opportunity in the new year.
Yeah, he's got a lot to look forward to now, hasn't he, Carl Frampton? Is it Jamal Herring for that world title?
Catterall patiently trying to stalk his man, looking for that one big opportunity, perhaps to finish this fight, even as late as this. Well, with a minute to go, opportunity, Richie, to maybe just rate Jack Catterall's performance here tonight, bearing in mind he's been out a year.
He's been out a year. I'd give him a 7 out of 10 here tonight. There's a lot more to come from Jack Catterall. He needed these rounds. He's produced a little bit of magic in there as well. A couple of 10-8 rounds against an opponent who's been pretty stubborn and hard to actually nail with the shot, because he's on that back foot all the time, moving away, won't come forward. So yeah, I think Jack Catterall can be fairly pleased with the night's work, considering he's been out of the ring 12 months.
And he's had no real anxious moments himself, has he?
No, not at all, really.
Huyar's landed a couple of decent shots, but he's never really looked like putting Catterall down or really dominating any of the rounds we've seen. He maybe edged 1 or possibly 2, but that's been about the extent of it. And Jack Catterall now coming up towards the final bell, and a very clear winner, I am sure.
Yeah, I think overall the camp will be pleased that he's boxed tonight and he's got those rounds under his belt. He may need another contest before he goes into a world title fight, but nevertheless, being out of the ring for 12 months, yeah, I'll be fairly pleased with that. Against a stubborn opponent, but he's got the job done, that's the main thing.
Yeah, fit and awkward, wasn't he? And he kept battling away. They did a good job in the corner with that damage above the left eye. Blood was all over the place back in the 4th round. But he looks fairly satisfied as he looks across to his promoter, Frank Warren, sitting at ringside. Or distanced, I should say, at ringside.
I mean, if he'd been against an opponent, John, he'd have knocked out in maybe 1 or 2 rounds. You know, he wouldn't have had the benefit of those 10 there. So overall, I think if I were him, I'd be more pleased with doing 10 rounds tonight rather than a 1 or 2 round shootout, to be quite honest.
Well, he must have won it by a street. What exactly the points tally is, I'm not quite sure, but Thomas Treiber most definitely is.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, our referee in charge, Victor Laughlin, scores this contest 99-90 in favor of your winner and still undefeated, Jack El Gato Catterall.
Referee gives Ouya 1 round, Jack Catterall winning by a big margin, 99-90, and the undefeated record continues.
Jack, a year out, 10 good rounds, a small cut, you dropped the guy twice. Just about perfect, wasn't it?
Yeah, listen, I enjoyed that. Been a year out of the ring. Happy, like I said, 10 rounds in the bank, boom, we move to next year. We look forward to some big fights.
And you're not even breathing. Okay, let's talk about the big fights. Ramirez, Josh Taylor, you did a deal to step aside, to let them fight. You've got an agreement to fight the winner. What do we know? When might it happen?
So I stepped aside, hopefully it happens early next year. I've been told possible dates, end of Jan, beginning of Feb. Listen, I'll be at that fight watching. There's an agreement in place to fight the winner within a couple months, so exciting times.
Exciting times. I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to tell you what Carl Frampton gave you out of 10. All I'm going to tell you is it wasn't 10.
Listen,
back to you, Paul.